Hello, I am back to talk about the planets again and what it's gonna be like for the week. It's been a pretty heavy day, hasn't it, today? It's Wednesday, the September 10th, right now as I'm recording this. And it's been really quite the day, hasn't it? Look at the chart. I'll bring up the chart here. Let's see. Start with this morning here. And I got it at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And we started out the day with Chiron and the moon conjunct opposite Mars and Black Moon Lilith. Now, this opposition is becoming stronger. So it's only getting stronger. But this conjunction between the moon and Chiron this morning, we pretty much woke up feeling our pain, the pain body that's attached to our trauma and our wounds. And so if you were feeling physical pain today, because we're having this opposition with Mars, just with the moon there, it passed through there. Oh, go back. It passed through there. So a little bit earlier in the morning, for some of us, it was exactly opposite Mars. And yeah, feeling our pain today. I've been in some extra pain today. It just kind of sucks. Um, and then that pain just became more for more of us, right? It's a noon where the moon is just at the last degree of Aries. It's still activating Mars. Mars is active because of the moon's opposition and it being in Aries. And so we saw a pretty volatile and violent event. The sun is exactly conjunct the South Node today. Yeah, South Node, something that is going away. What are we letting go? And it also means that the sun is in an exact opposition to the North Node today. And this is where it seems like it seems as though, how do I say this? There are a lot of spiritual concepts, uh, principles coming up right now, you know. So on one end in Virgo, we're letting a physical body go. On the other end in Pisces, the North Node, we're bringing in something spiritual, right? And the ruler of the North Node is Neptune, the modern ruler. And he's still in Aries. And so Mars dispositing that, and that opposition with the moon is very tense, very intense. And the old traditional ruler of Pisces is Jupiter. And Jupiter is in contact with this North Node in a trine. So something with Jupiter, Jupiter's always bringing greater meaning to something. And so what is the greater meaning to um silencing a voice? It becomes louder, actually. That voice becomes louder because there um because the actual effect is amplification, expansion, turning into religious dogma even. Um, it's interesting to see what happened today as a result of these really intense configurations with the planets. You know, Mars and Black Moon Lilith are in a square to Jupiter in this chart today. Mm, it's the tension between this oppression, this symbol of oppression. We've got Black Moon Lilith conjunct Mars, and so that oppression is feeling angry. And that's something that could be rising in everybody right now because this is what we're dealing with today on Wednesday is a lot of anger and repressed emotions coming to the surface. And I would say that even if you're not being affected by the violence out there, there's probably some kind of internal turmoil churning inside your body because it's meant to be coming up and um being seen in the light once this the suppression repression wants to come out and be seen. And that's what we're dealing with today. So I'm going to go ahead and go to tomorrow, the day of September 11. And let's see, in the morning, the moon in Taurus. The moon is happier in Taurus. So there is that. And this opposition between Mars and Chiron continues. It just continues. So even though the moon isn't there anymore, that opposition is continuing. Um, and we can all tell right now, right here and now, that the tensions are not going to get easier. It's gonna possibly get worse before it gets better. I wonder if in history, because we had what we called the Civil War the last time Neptune was in an Aries, hundreds of, however many years that was ago, a whole Neptune cycle ago. It's a long time. But it feels like this time around, if we're going to go into a civil war type situation, I don't think we'll be calling it a civil war. We might actually use the word uncivil war to rebrand the way that it looks and feels as though it were, as in a modern way. Um, if we can see through the veil that Neptune is placed on our head, Aries, the head, if we can see through the veil that Neptune has placed over our head, then we'll be able to see that we're being provoked into this uncivil war. Highly provoked. Why does it look like that? Because our traumas and our wounds are being poked while we're going through this transit collectively. Mars in opposition to Chiron again. Mars has like a 2 year uh, cycle. It takes 2 years to go around the zodiac ish. And so every 2 years, we're going to have this opposition. And just like we had the opposition to Pluto earlier on this year when Mars was going retrograde from Leo to Cancer and then back again. There were two oppositions to Pluto that time. And this opposition to Chiron is even more painful because it's not just fear that's Pluto, it's our actual wounds, which is Chiron. The actual pain that we've been through, the actual things that we know and remember. It's not just the irrational fear. So these wounds and like physical pain is being activated right now with this opposition. Yeah. Jupiter remains in that trine with the North Node. You just have to keep the faith. You have to keep faith. Faith, not dogma, right? Does that make sense? It makes sense to me. Mm, it's opposition. It's coming in, but it's not really quite there yet. All right. Mercury's joining the opposition crew, and that's our communication. What are we communicating around this time? What, there's a lot of communication happening right now, actually. And there'll be a lot of communication happening tomorrow. And there'll be a lot of Remembering on September 11th, right? Remember, never forget, right? We'll never forget. Except we have forgotten. We have, haven't we? Haven't we? Does anybody remember what it felt like after September 11th? And it felt like we were being attacked by another country, and we all had this sense of coming together. Yes, there was a lot of fear, and we didn't know what was coming next, but I saw this bridge between left and right, you know, red and blue. And that's the thing that we've forgotten, which is interesting because we always say every year that we're never going to forget. Well, I just wonder if this year, if the events that unfolded on the 10th might help us remember something on the 11th about unity. I wonder. Because that's ultimately a wound. It's ultimately a wound. I'm not gonna have my cards here. Okay. I was gonna pull a card at the end here, and I've got cool deck. Uh, it's called the Sunstone deck. I'll be doing that at the end. Pulling a card. Anyways, I'm flailing about making my cards fall. So, anyways, yes. Mm, Venus will be joining through angular, uh, in a sextile. So there'll be the sextile between Venus and Mars that'll be coming out the next day day or two. Yeah, a few days. Looks like they'll be in a bit of a sextile. And that is a good thing, right? It's like finding a way, right? We need to figure out a way. We need to figure out what the opportunity is for us to become more aware. And that's really what sextile is. It's like becoming aware of something. The awareness is unfolding. Not in a full opposition type awareness, because that will be like we see everything in full light, but uh the sextile is like it takes effort to see this opportunity, which is really, really what we're gonna be needing to do is like putting effort into seeing this opportunity. And so on the next day, September 12th, we're gonna be getting closer to these opportunities. And we need to try to be conscious of Um, what are these opportunities that are being brought to us through being aware of our wounds? There's an opportunity coming. It looks like the moon is inching closer to Uranus as the day unfolds on the 12th. By the time the evening comes through, we've got the moon and Uranus conjunct. Could be something unexpected because the moon seems to be really triggering things. And this is because Jupiter is in Cancer right now. So Jupiter is exaggerating these events with the moon. That's why it's going to be important to follow the moon. Just keep following the moon. What is the moon doing? Right? The moon is going to be conjunct Uranus. What unexpected thing? And say like you can't expect something because it's unexpected, right? So we could look at what's going on in Aquarius. Oh, look, there's Pallas Athena. She is the goddess of strategy. Strategy. What kind of strategy is our country going to need, right? What kind of strategy do you as a person need to uh, to get through whatever unexpected thing happens? You know, uh, personally in your chart, you can look at where Gemini is and what house it is. And this is something that's been triggering unexpected changes that are it's meant to gear you, like, hurl you actually forward into your future self. If shit is hitting the fan and changing for you, it's because there are certain things that are not in alignment with your future self. Because Uranus is all about the future. And it's like, yeah, unexpected changes, but we've got the future to look at and see so where are we going? What does that look like? And, if you have a really bleak outlook on the future, then some stuff might be coming and like slapping you in the face. Just because it's not a very strategic place to be. Uh, Feeling that like depression, letting fear get to you. Letting fear get to you could be a huge mistake in the next like 30 years, ultimately. But right here, right now, um, fear will, if you let it get to you, it'll debilitate you, it'll keep you from being able to take action. And then that's when the unexpected shitstorm comes through, right? It's because you've been paralyzed, right, from fear. And, that's just some people's path and their journey because uh, you know, these wounds that are coming up through this opposition between Mars and Chiron that I've been talking about. It's getting tighter here. Mhm. And Black Moon Lilith will come back around for another go around because Black Moon Lilith is going retrograde right now. So this wounding, this anger, this rage, All of it is tied together because you're gonna have to use strategy to get through it. And part of that strategy should be coming through. If you're paying attention, it should be coming through on the 12th in the evening. I am in Pacific, so this is how I do my astrology. I'm in Pacific time. You're gonna adjust accordingly to where you are. So, and here is Venus and Mars making a tighter sextile on the 12th. Yes, 12th. Let's go forward another day. And let's see here. Mostly we have got the moon moving around and it's in Gemini now, and so we're paying attention to Mercury. So September 12th and 13th, Mercury is going to become important, and it'll probably be heavy news days, if I had to guess. Unexpected news on the 12th, and the continued play out of that on the 13th. We've got the Sun and Mercury in their annual uh, conjunction. So Mercury was retrograde and conjuncted the Sun, and now it's going forward and conjuncted the Sun again. It will be conjuncting the Sun again on the 13th. See, that's Saturday. And so finally, Mercury will be headed ahead of the Sun again after this. Um, because it's not like we've been really dealing with Mercury retrograde like this whole time, but once the Sun and Mercury come together again for another conjunction, uh, the Cazimi, I believe it is, it's like Mercury is renewed through the Sun, right? There's a renewal. So maybe it's going to be better news after that. Maybe. We'll just have to see though. There's a lot still going on with these, all of these planets touching, with Mars and Chiron coming even tighter into their opposition. Mm, Jupiter, um, starting to play even more into that with a square more and more. And like I said, Jupiter in Cancer is what is making us feel bigger. There's the higher highs and the lower lows. So that's why I'm saying, when there's like better news, it might be really good at some point. And then there'll be another low, low, heavy day. It's just gonna be like that for the year that Jupiter's in Cancer. Mhm. And I'm just looking to see. What else do I want to talk about? We got the moon coming into square with um the conjunction between Mercury and the Sun, and technically the South Node. It's still technically all in conjunction, and the moon coming into a square with that is probably, I mean, it could be just tension, um, but I really feel like it's gonna be, there's gonna be a period of time until the the solar eclipse comes. I really believe that it's people's emotions are going to be on their lips. They're just constantly going to be talking about their emotions. And because they won't be able to get away from that, um, the feeling like you need to figure it out, because it's really, gosh, what we're going through is really chaotic. And looking at these charts, I'm trying to make sense out of it, right? But it's still very chaotic. I need to try to get going quicker here. So as we come into Sunday, we're almost locked into this exact opposition between Mars and Chiron. And um, the moon will be moving into Cancer later on that day. We'll just do that. So the moon is in Cancer later on September 14th on Sunday. And Mm, like the moon has been making a trine, no, a square, sorry. Square, yes. It will be making a square to this conjunction between Saturn and Neptune. And so I believe that that's, going to be that feeling again where our uncivil war, we feel it. So how else is it an experience other than feeling it? So the moon going into Cancer, that's, yeah, and I'm getting that it's going to be a low energy day. Like, this is going to be a day that people are going to really want to rest and go inward. A lot of inward thinking, inward feeling, going inward that day. There's um memories, memories. Yeah, lots of memories coming up about our the past that we've actually lived through and possibly history, our ancestry. The moon going into Cancer. It's such a sensitive time, is really going to bring up old ancestry type stuff. And isn't that really what the unrest around the world has been about? It's been about everybody's individual, um, the groups of ancestry that we have on this planet and what these groups believe is theirs based on history. And so, yeah, that's what I see coming up is history, past, the old, um, some of maybe even bringing up the past is always going to be teaching people about the future because we live in patterns and cycles, and that's what astrology is about. So, um, something to look for what is coming up about the past. Of course, we're feeling our wounds, we're feeling our rage, and we're feeling our anger, oppressed stuff coming up. There's a lot of oppression in our histories, past ancestry, a lot of oppression, repression that can be dug up and discovered. Uh, 15th is Monday. Monday, Monday, Monday. And we've got Mars, Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith looks like she's going forward again, not retrograde, and so she is conjunct Mars. And so you might be feeling, uh, that feeling that rage of being oppressed, and then your anger wants to come in and do something about it. These are some big energies that we're going to be dealing with this whole week, probably for a couple weeks. Yeah, as you can see, it is persisting in the chart. It was just not really going anywhere anytime soon, unfortunately. So on Monday in the evening, we can see the moon and Jupiter together. Um, we probably could see them together like early in the morning when they come up together. Um, in the morning on the next day, that is. Let's see here. So when they come up into the sky early in the morning together, 3 a.m. If you want to go outside and see the moon and Jupiter together, it's 3 in the morning Pacific. It's like, you know, the sun is coming up for Eastern. It'll probably be really pretty together. I love how Jupiter just shines so bright in the sky. When the moon and Jupiter come together, it's like, oh yeah, you know, it just looks nice in the sky. And it's a good time to take in that beauty because it's been a really heavy week. As we get to Tuesday, next Tuesday, we're going to be feeling like, what have we been going through? Venus comes in and a trine to that Chiron opposition with um, Mars and Black Moon Lilith. So when it finally happens, when Mars and Chiron finally lock into that opposition, Venus comes to be a part of it. And all at 26 degrees. 26 degrees Leo, 26 degrees Libra, 26 degrees Aries. This sextile between Venus and Mars is an obvious opportunity to bridge the gap between differences, every different kind of difference. And what does it take to bridge that gap between differences? It takes compassion and bringing in the beauty of life, bringing in the higher meaning, not necessarily religion, but just the beauty of like like if you've ever had that moment where you're just like really grateful to be alive, not, like, oh, you got through something intense and you're grateful to be alive, but just have that moment where you're like, you know what? Life is beautiful. It's a good time to do that. It's a good time to take in that deep breath, look up at the moon, and say, this is actually a really good time to be alive. And to try to find those moments where you can have compassion, where you take that opportunity between the differences and say, hey, look, different, different is beautiful. I don't have to fear what's different. Different can be beautiful. And that's the opportunity that we're being given because it feels like a balm, a salve, a soothing potion to the tension that we've been feeling as Mars gets more and more and more in alignment with Chiron, and our wounds are being felt and our traumas are coming up, and just surrendering to feeling like, you know what, I'm grateful to be alive. It's a good time to be alive. It's an amazing time to be alive right now because it's everything is gonna be okay, right? As we come to Tuesday, it's gonna be essential to take that deep breath because it's an opportunity that's being given to us. We will be able to truly feel into that. When we go further into the day, let's see. Yeah, Yeah. So yeah, Tuesday, when the moon is in Cancer at home with Jupiter there, Jupiter is bringing greater meaning to the moon being at home. That's another reason why we need to take that deep breath and breathe it in, you know. Um, it is a time of recharging, and we're gonna need this moment to recharge our batteries for sure. So don't forget to take it. Don't forget to take it in, right? It's not always gonna be easy to find those moments of beauty, and have the opportunity to actually like lean into that because this fall is gonna be crazy. I'll just keep going with the astrology and I'll just keep showing you. But this fall, I mean, there's gonna be very few moments to take that breather. So, all right. Now I wanted to pull a card for the last thing here. So I'm gonna stop this share. All right, so I'm gonna grab my cards. Again, this is the Sunstone deck from Threads of Fate. Threads of Fate just recently just closed up shop. They are starting another project called Sowilo. I believe that's what it's called. And I'm sure you could look them up um, if you're into it. But I'm glad I got these cards before, they closed up because, oh, they're so beautiful. I really love their decks. I am just shuffling, and this one, the Sunstone deck is all rune cards. So they've got runes on them. And I thought that was appropriate because, Jupiter is Zeus, and then Jupiter's also Odin, if you go even back even further, right? And these cards, the runes, um, it's like Odin's deck, it's cool. That's here. What piece of information do we need for this coming week? Because we're gonna need some guidance, right? Oh, that's interesting. Of course. So, got one Joe, this card right here. I love this card. Actually, I have a sticker of it that I got with my deck, and it's on my phone. It's on the back of my phone here. That's funny, right? It's cool. Anyways, so this card, one Joe. Um, yeah, so have it on my finger. Um, so as you can see, there is something about the aura, right? Something about existing. In this card, it's got the clouds. It's like taking that deep breath. It's like taking the moment, find the beauty in the moment, find the joy. 'Cause this card, this the symbol, Wanjo, it literally means joy. So, and in this deck, they always have these little poems. They have these little poems for the cards. And it goes with the lore. Okay, so the poem. And through the darkness and uncertainty, we find the reason. Blinding joy, we rise together, our hearts connected, a song finding new highs. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Yeah, Wunjo, it means joy. And it's about connection, community, and sharing. This is really, that's going to be our goal and our challenge, right? Right. It brings us joy and bliss after a journey through big, powerful, and even some chaotic energies. That's a good way to put this. Sharing joy. It's not a solitary experience. Uh, Joy, right? We would much rather share it, right? We kind of like fall short if we're happy about something and we don't get to share it, right? Isn't that true? All right. Yeah. It is the last rune in the first et, or however you say it. I'm not quite sure how to say it. Even though I've been working with runes for a long time, I sort of don't know how to pronounce things. It's just because I've always read it, saying it out loud. I'm practicing all that. Yee. So being the last rune in the first et, it is the completion of the first leg of a journey, and we've arrived at a space of feeling empowered and hopeful of the future. Um, we've acquired enough tools to feel like we can tackle what will come our way, right? I mean, after going through so much chaotic energy, just like in such a short period of time, because this week is gonna be kind of crazy. This eclipse portal is just gonna be crazy. It's gonna be getting crazier and crazier because that interstellar object is coming also, which I'll talk more about in another video. But very, very, very interesting times are upon us. Prophetic times, right? Prophecies have been written about the time that we're living in right now. So it's something to appreciate. All right, well, I am going to leave you all with that. Thank you for joining me again. I hope that I see you next time. I hope that you have a great week. I hope that we all get through this consciously and with compassion and take many deep breaths along the way. Just take those deep breaths. Take a moment. Remove yourself from the chaos when you need to. All right. Well, see you next week.